Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Ellen, so we're tiptoe through the tulips. Yes, we're doing a tulip painting. I'm going to go over drawing it and painting it step by step on my YouTube today. And this is in a sketchbook, so I always want to talk about adding things in your sketchbook, playing around, learning how to draw things. Check out the link in the description box about one I did with poppies. If you're a Patreon member, you get the line drawing trace. If you want to be a Patreon member, click the link in the description box as well. But I go over how to draw some tulips and then just painting them simply. These are just really simple tulips and nothing like fancy or anything like that. Not super realistic, just basic tulips. I also put some links in the description box from other tutorials that I have of tulips, so go check those out. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, I have many tutorials on my YouTube here on how to draw a tulip, but I'll just talk about it again. Very simple breakdown if you're going to do like a U shape, right? And then from here, you can kind of wiggle, bumps, and then bring that down. Not in the middle, maybe over towards the right a little bit. And then from here, you pull it up, and that's the shape. And then from the back, you wiggle it here. And then you're adding the stem. And the leaves are just these big old leaves like this. They can kind of come up and bend down. And you see the leaf like that. And then you'll see some like veinage in your tulip. Some will be closed, so they don't have the opening, so they're more like this. Just like that. And, you know, if you're going to really be open, there's a little curve again. You really see the inside a little bit more, and you'll see some stamens kind of coming out like that. And then if it's really open, I'm not really drawing that in this particular one. And for the boot, again, I'm just going to show you simply. You're just going to kind of, you can go online and find some boots. So it's a curve coming down and kind of curving, going down. Here's a little boot heel, goes down and up. So it's just a simplified, but little line here, little line here, and you could do like a buckle. And then just kind of for the second one, kind of a little bit like this, kind of mimicking the other one a little bit. You know, and then a little top. There's the boot. If, like I said, if you're a Patreon member, you get the line drawing that I have here. And I'm using my my Etcher Perfect Sketchbook. I was gifted this. They're not cheap. Sorry. They're not cheap. So if you want to just use a cheaper sketchbook, do that. And so now I'm going to figure out, I just drew some tulips inside the boots, right? So you have that same tulip I showed you. I just drew some inside the boots. And then I did a couple of little ones on the side here. And so we'll do the tulip on the sides. We'll talk about putting the color in there. And you're going to choose. You want to do yellow. Yellow could be a little bit more difficult if you're just a beginner than like a pink or purple or reddish orangey color. So, you know, I'm going to stick to more of maybe a red or pinkish purple. I have this bright rose color from Holbein. I always use Holbein. I love Holbein. And I have this other color called cadmium red light. I like to mix the two together. I get a nice rose color. Or if you want to mix the little cadmium yellow deep, and you get like a nice blushy orangey kind of tone. That's a really pretty color. Right? You can play around with many colors for this. You could do purple and yellow colors for like Easter. If I was going to do purple, I would have ultramarine blue deep and bright rose, or you can even use Prussian blue and bright rose or magenta, and you'll get a beautiful purple. And depending on how much blue and how much pink you add, you can get more bluish tone here. So it's up to you how you want to play with this. There can be multicolored tulips. I might go back and add some more pink in here. This is much more of a pinky kind of tulip. Pink and purple, kind of pretty. So I water this color down. I'm using a Princeton 10 long round velvet touch series. I always put the supply list in there. So we just do the first wash of color, kind of simply put that color in. And it could be the same in all three areas. You just fill it all in. Like I said, you could have a different color on this one. So while the paint is still wet, you kind of use that same color and kind of use your flowers in here. I don't want to waste paint. Move around the picture what the colors you're going to use. Do pink in here. Make use of all the color you have. Don't waste it. I think I put two purple. I don't want to do like purple, pink. You want to do like a cluster. I might even add some yellow in here. Like I said, cluster. So I'll add another pink one here. And it can be lighter by adding more water. You see? And I'll clean up my brush now. And I'll water this purple down. And let's see if I like the purple in here. It's kind of pretty. So I'm going to do some pink and purples. And do the purple one over here. Moving around the picture here. And moving around my paper. This is a great sketchbook for if you want 100% cotton cold pressed paper for a sketchbook. And it's, like I said, it's not cheap. It was gifted to me. But if you want to paint on really good paper, the quality is very nice. I forget the size of this when it's open. I think it's like a 6x9. So I just have a couple of purple ones in there. While it's drying, I'm going to move some of my pink out of here. Let's mix up some greens. Now you have to decide, do you want your boot, you know, like the Hunter boots are always these deep green. If you know Hunter boots, it's an English brand, because you know they call them wellies. I would maybe try to play with maybe some turquoisey kind of color. So I might grab some peacock blue, or where's my peacock blue? It's over here. I only have a little bit here. So peacock blue is a beautiful turquoise color from Holbein. I might add a little bit of yellow to it. Because I feel like you can compete a little bit with the Hunter boot green with the greens of the tulips, and let's make it a little more bluish turquoise. So I'm going to go back and add some more peacock blue. I want more blue tone. I made it too green. I want it more of a turquoisey blue. Now I'm adding more water, and I'm going to do the first wash here. I'm going to leave a little highlight too on the front of the boot. I'm going to show you. It's leaving white. So I'm going to wash over this area. Leave this a little section here light. See? Boom. White. I didn't paint that. And I'm going to just fill the whole thing, even the bottom part. Coming down here. I'm just going to tap my brush on the paper towel and clean it off with some more water. So there's still some paint on there, but it's not as saturated as it was before. So it's a little bit lighter. So I made this area lighter. And now we can go and use this part. I'm going to have some lighter colors happening in the center here. A little more saturated color. Leaving a little white in here. You see how this works? So it's highlighted like the sun or something is hitting it. I don't mind if this bleeds into this one, because we're going to add more color in again. Okay, that's just the first initial wash. Cute, right? Now, just like my poppy video that I have a couple of times ago, we're going to do another wash of this color on the tulip with the tip of this. This is why I like this brand new brush. It's got a great pointy tip. And from here, from the bottom, we'll go up, and I'll do these little lines, like these veins coming in here. Can wash a little bit deeper color on that side of this tulip, leaving some of that light color, right? Just a little detail, again, with the tip of the brush. The side on the right of the tulip will make it a little bit darker, and we'll still leave some of that pale pink. Just getting detail here. I'm going to show you again. The same color we used. We're just using another wash of it. So this side gets a little darker. You see that? Now that's highlighting that light area. And then just take the edge on these little lines going like this. You see? Dark side with the pink. Whatever we do with the pink, we'll do the purple. And I'm taking little lines. I'm leaving a light color here, and I'm outlining this side. And then going on this side here. I'm going to get darker even still. I haven't touched the back area yet, and I'll talk about that in a second. Now it's still seeping into the paper. This part, the back one should get much darker than the front. So I'm going to add that dark color that we put on the front and add just a little doodad in the back. Haven't done this one yet. And there's a doodad in the back. And maybe I don't add so many lines like this one to make this one much lighter. And then just taking a tip of my brush and adding that darker tone right in the back. Boop, boop, boom. We'll be adding in another color to really pull it out all together, but that is the premise. Similar to the poppy. Like I said, the purple, again, see, now we're going to add deeper color. And this deeper color goes in the back. If you want to do the deeper color in the back, let that start to seep in. Outline the edge here and put a bunch of little lines in the bottom going up. Same thing with this one. So maybe this is easier to see. Here's the inside, much darker, right? Then you could take this line and go down on the side and start to take your little brush and swoop up some lines. And take that darker tone again and add some depth with the line on the outside. We'll wait till this dries and we'll add some more. You can add a couple little light ones in here like this. I meant light ones, I mean darker ones in here like this. And again, I could add a thicker paint of the rose and the ultramarine blue deep. And look at that, much darker. And just take the brush and kind of see, I'm just kind of moving the brush like this. From the bottom upward. We could do a couple tops coming down. 1, 2, 3, and outline it a little bit here. I'm going to clean up my brush, add a little bit of water so I can blend it. You see that? And now it looks like three-dimensional. Just a simple way to make a tulip. So you can take this on premise and add a deeper color to the tulips in the back here. You know, they're not super, don't have to be super realistic. And same thing with the tulip. I'm adding some thicker. Here's the bright rose, cadmium red deep, right? And get a little bit darker. This one's still very wet. I'm adding a deeper color in the back. And we can add some shadows too with another color. And I'll just go here again, add the depth, the darker pink, so it's giving it some life, three-dimensionality. You don't want to do a million of these little lines, just a few. A few in the bottom going up. And then just fill in the center in here. And one line. And you have a cute little tulips. Tiptoe. So right now you see the color is like pink on pink on pink. We will be adding another color tone to this to make it more vibrant. Same thing, using the same color with the boots. Gonna go back in for another wash. You see, leaving that light wash there. And now look how much darker that is. Right? Keep that light wash kind of here. Add the line on the bottom. You can add the line here. Leave a little white, lighter color space here. Taking this brush, adding in the deeper, just it's not a deeper tone. It's just basically the same tone, just going back on top of the lovely little boot. And this is basically what we call glazing. Going back over here, I'm leaving some light here, kind of filling it in a little bit darker. So what that means is, like, if you were working on some leaves that were like lighter veins, this is the way you kind of go about it. You paint the light first, and you go back over it with the same color, but leaving that white, that light vein. See, I didn't left this. This is that light wash of turquoise, where the stitching would be for the boot. And this one's going to get obviously darker because of it's behind the other one. You see, that's how you make it more three-dimensional. And if you go again with another pass, it gets even darker. Look at that. You're building. Building. Put that little line in for the boot. little details, and of course the bottom would get darker as well. And again, I'll add some deeper color in a second, maybe adding like a brown in there, so the boots get a little darker. So I'm done with my purples and pinks, basically. I can remove them from my palette, and we'll start to add our greens for the leaves. And basically it's cadmium yellow deep and Prussian blue, and about the amount that you stick in, and a little bit of burnt umber. That's the deep color, right? Now we can add that same color. I don't know how that got there. That's Prussian blue and yellow. The more yellow you add, the lighter it will be. So here we go, add the yellow. Look at that, nice and light. I like to have 2 different color tones, maybe 3 or 4. And I would do the first wash with the light color first. You're just pushing down on this brush. This is really great. Push down and kind of fold back, and you got a simple leaf. Up and over for this one. And then the stem comes down. Doesn't have to be super hyper realistic, by the way. And then just feel, oh, by the way, I just realized I didn't finish this tulip. But you know, it's the same premise as the other ones. I'll go and add that in a bit. I'm just filling in with this first wash of color. We will be adding in some more depth with some deeper colors. And if you want to even get it even lighter, so you have multiple colors here going. Although the tulips usually generally aren't super yellowish green, but you can kind of play around with that. So you can kind of put this color in here, and we'll go back over these with some more deeper colors. You always start off light. You don't want to go straight to dark tones, because then you can't come back from that in watercolor. Absolutely cannot. So I'm just going to put in all this color in here, this green, and the leaves. And then we can come back and add some deeper values of greens. Always want to start off light first, like I say. And you can't come back unless you really know what you're doing. Just filling in some greenery here. And my tulips. I'm going to put another one out here. Just fill this all in. So this is what we call negative painting. Now we put all this wash of this light green in, and I'm going to go back in when it dries with some deeper value, and the green will pop up. I can also add some nice lines on the leaves because they have nice veins on them with the darker tone too. So there's that darker tone. We mix a couple of them together. Zoom in. So, see, you're still leaving some of that light green. You can go like that, leaving more light green. Depends on how you want to do it. And a little bit deep color. Maybe have it just on one side. Maybe I want to make it darker completely and just leave it just a teeny bit of that light green. It's up to you. There's a little fold. We're waiting for this to dry. You can add a little bit deeper color here on the stem, connecting, and where it meets the other part of this leaf, be darker. So this one's dry. Again, I can do some nice little veins, just going like this. Woohoo! Going up, leaving some of that. It's up to you. Or it could be mostly flat and then add a few of the veins, because they look like that too. Right? Getting a little bit darker here. All right. So now that it's dry, we're going to zoom in a little bit. So you see a bunch of leaves in here. So you have to figure out where is the darker one. This will be much darker underneath this one. Obviously, right? And then here. This one would be flanking this one behind. And you fill this one in a little bit deeper. A little bit darker right here. So now you're seeing the stem pulling through in front of that. Some dark green kind of happening here. And some deeper green pulling this one in front. You see? And the stem here would get darker. A little bit darker. And then this one would get darker in this section. That's kind of how we do it. So they're kind of pulling forward the one that's not dark. This one right here behind it. Now it's really, the color between the two is really dark. So you can blend it or add a medium tone. See that? And I blend it by cleaning off my brush, adding a little bit of water. And that's how I blend that one down, so you can see the depth of that one. And this one, similar, much darker top. I mean, it's so tedious because it's just a little sketchbook, but you can kind of play with this. And then I take my brush and just kind of go like this. Put those lines in. Get that deeper green. Kind of bleed some of that. It looks a little bit more three-dimensional that way. I could add some of the lines in this one. Starting to look a little bit like it belongs, like that. And then this one too, put the little lines going down from the bottom, outward. The boot, leaving some of that light stuff. Same thing with this one. Now you could just leave this light color here and just put in a really light wash. Oops, that's darker. Of some veins in the leaves. You're playing with this. Same thing with this one. Depending on how you want it to get so dark. Some of them would be very, very dark. So I would go back in here and add some deeper color. So now it stands out completely. Like this one. Behind. I'll add on the leaf behind this so that pops that pink out. See how that works? That's a stem. This is kind of crowded in here. Can add some veins in that one. And this one too. Got the lines. And add some of these lines here. Just take your time with this. So now it looks a little bit more three-dimensional. Now it's a lot of green, green, green. I do want to add in a different color hue to make it not so fake looking. Does that make sense? You'd want different tones, different colors. And there's that dark one again. So now it looks a little bit more three-dimensional. Remember this one here? It's kind of folded, so up in here, it's going to get darker still. And then we could put some veins like this. Just little details and get even darker here, and then put some more veins in this one. From where it's attached to the stem there. Voila. I threw that little purple one in. So the last part is adding a little bit more detail. So I'll take ultramarine blue deep and burnt sienna. Make a nice little gray here. And more in the bluish tones, right? And you can add some of that right here for a shadow. The boot. Right? There's the little line. Because it's behind that one. You want the other one to come forward. So right now it looks like a line. You clean off your brush, add a little water, and you kind of blend it. See that? I'm kind of moving my brush in a tiny circular motion to blend this color out. If you feel like your little highlight is too much, you can kind of just fill some of it in with your turquoise. And that's just adding that little gray that I mixed in. You can use that little gray to kind of make a shadow on your tulip. In here, and then even in here. Don't be afraid to add some of that even in the gray here, or on your stem. In here, right? You can get some deeper gray. That's pretty light. Gonna add a little bit thicker paint. Get a deeper gray tone. And then we'll just change some of these leaves. And even from the bottom of the boots, going upward. And get even darker still between these two boots. You see? Can use that gray for the line of the stitching and the little buckle. The line stitching here. Or you can use the same color of the boot. And I'll put some gray in here and here. So use it for shadow. You can use it for adding dimension to your stuff. I'm just using it very sparingly here. And I'm going to add a little bit more burnt umber. And I'm just going to turn my sketchbook and put some shadow under the boots. It will get darker under the boots. See, it's just a light gray, medium type gray. Just go like that for now. I'll let it seep in and I'll get some thicker paint. Just a little bit more. See, I'm mixing that. Let that dry and then go back and do another wash of that. So once it's fairly dry, I'll go back again. Whoops, I want to get my boot. More under this one because it's lifted up a little bit. And this one's more on the ground. And I'll have the shadow go like that. This one kind of bled a little too much going on the front. I'm just going to lift that a little bit. I thought it was completely dry, but you know, sometimes it's not. But it should be much darker underneath that one. And that's pretty much it. We can add a little bit again, a little bit more. I'm going to add some peacock blue to this again. And I'll add a little bit of burnt umber, and that will make that turquoise even deeper color. If I want to get in here and get a deeper color turquoise, as you can see I'm doing here. So you get some various tones of that turquoise. Stitching, I forgot to do the stitching line here. It could be gray or the turquoise, right? And the boot, gonna put the line here. Just add a little bit more deeper value. Some here. It's gonna give it more three-dimensionality. It's rounded, you know, see? I'm adding some tones here, a little bit here. And I can make the buckle more like a silver buckle by adding the gray. And it's up to you how you want to do that. But that's pretty much it. Like I said, you can go back. You know what's kind of fun? If you just take some, like, just wash of the cadmium red light. You go over the pinky color. That could change the tone completely. That's why I love watercolor. You can play with the glazing technique and changing some of the colors. So they all look too pinky and similar. And you can change them up by adding just a wash of, like, that red you see. So now we have some different tones happening. I don't always like it to be pinky. Get a little pinky orange. Look at that. It just changed that color ever so slightly, making it a little bit more interesting. Same thing with the purple. If I added more ultramarine blue deep, well, this one could be completely different. More of a bluish purple. Right in here, same thing. Change that up. Or you can make one more pinky purple by adding more pink. It's completely up to you. So I hope this was fun, interesting for you, teaching you how to draw these things and play with them. And I would go back in, like I said. It's going to be a little bit darker too, a little shadow. Look how much that changed that look. And here with the shadow of the grays. Little goes a long way. All right. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. If you haven't hit the bell notification button, please do so to know my tutorial is up. I always have them up every single week, twice a week. And it's fun. Just kind of play here. You're just taking your brush. I'm going to go add some more bright color. I feel like it was so dull. And, you know, play with this. Have fun with the tulips. And remember, if you want to grab the trace, join my Patreon. The link is in the description box below. And you get all kinds of goodies on Patreon that you don't have on YouTube. So you can check out the tiers on there. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon.